Hello. Welcome to Season XV of the Horrific Podcast. We're two friends who live in different places but share a love for scary movies. In each episode, we both watch the same movie on our own and then record a conversation together about what we liked, what we hated, if we were scared, and maybe even some larger truths about why people watch horror movies in the first place. This season, we're watching movies from the 90s and talking about how they fit into the larger picture of 90s horror and how each year from that decade stacks up against the others. Thanks for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the episode. Dearly beloved, we have gathered here today to celebrate the life of Season XV. Season XV began in the year 1990, worked its way through to 1999, and then returned back again to 1990, just as we all live and then return to the dust. But we got one more week to talk about it.
I started out like adding to that, and I was in. Like, you should be a narrator for some horror show or something, man. That's good.
If they ever do like an Alfred Hitchcock reboot, or Twilight Zone, if I could do the Rod Serling monologue,
dude, you do good at that. Yeah,
game over. But anyway, we are here today to actually talk about Season XV and to re-examine the years and how they match up against each other. So if this is the first episode of Season XV that you're listening to, that's probably a bad idea. But the premise of this season was to go through and watch a couple of movies from every year of the 1990s. The 90s, if you do much reading about the history of horror movies, have a pretty bad reputation of being a time of straight to VHS cash grab, low quality sequels in established franchises. And while that is true, we discovered, it is also a time when there were some pretty good horror movies. And we watched a few of those, and then we also watched some that were complete trash. So the goal this week is to go back and re-examine our rankings of how those years of the 90s stack up against each other, and then draw some firm conclusions about what's best and what's worst. You here for it?
Pertaining to the movies, right? Not just in general.
Yeah, exactly. We will leave personal life experiences out of it.
All right. Well, Russell, you're next, buddy. Dude, that's an old one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Goes way back.
If you listen to us for a long time, you know why I hate him.
I'm not even sure why you hate him.
Nah, I don't even know if I am. I actually like him.
But you can't just change your mind after all this.
It's set in stone. There was a reason for it, and I go with my gut.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go back through, and we've done a few additional movies at the end to kind of hopefully balance out some of these things or give some of the years that were a little less exciting on the first pass through have a second chance. But before we get into that, I just wanted to clarify with you a little bit about how we want to do this, because I don't think we ever really talked about what our decision-making criteria was. So in your opinion, do you think we should be doing just like, these are the movies that we liked the best, or these were the movies that we feel like were the most influential, or this was like the most consistent year, or like, what are you kind of thinking as far as how we're going to like provide some order to this list?
Yeah, so the way that I kind of did it was based off of like what we liked, because, you know, it's our podcast that's, you know, deciding the list. I do like, and also because I hadn't done enough research to figure out, like, I could go off influential of just what I've, you know, what I could, what I've watched and all that, but without any further research than that, you know. But I would say it was probably based off of like, you know, our thoughts. I mean, that is why our listener is here, to hear what our thoughts are of it. So, but what were your thoughts?
So I kind of came at it from
Do you have a preference?
a slightly different angle in that I was thinking if I was going to recommend a year of 90s horror movies to check out for like somebody who was skeptical. If somebody was like, oh, dude, 90s horror sucks. And I'm like, oh, au contraire, check out the list of movies that we watched from insert year.
Good point.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm
because
coming
what we're
from.
trying. Yeah, I'm with you on this actually, because we're trying to say, hey, it's not that bad. Here's the year that you can watch, and yeah, I'm with you. Let's do it.
Okay, cool. So I think that may change some stuff up a little bit, but that's okay. And it's not necessarily to say like, oh, we like these movies less than we originally said we did, but it's maybe there are some that got a little bit of a boost because they hold a special place for us. And then we just really don't want to be that guy from, what's the site?
Pornhub.
Dude, you're going to get me kicked off the internet. I'm in Texas.
Esquires. Oh, Esquire. Yeah. Esquires.
Yeah, we don't want to be that list from Esquire where the guy just put all the movies that he remembers watching when he was growing up. You know what I mean? Like we want to get objective about this and put together something that will stand the test of time. So in our kind of running list throughout the season, in very last place, we had 1993. And so that was Doppelganger, Leprechaun, Kronos, and Nightmare Before Christmas. And then right above that was 94, and above that was 95. And 94 was The Crow, In the Mouth of Madness, and New Nightmare. And then 95 was Rumpelstiltskin, The Fear, The Quick and the Dead, and Species. So I think just starting from that group of three, would you change anything about your current rankings?
Let me look at it real quick. I was reading our list as like the order, so that's my bad.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah.
So the last three are 93, 94, and the final is 95 as the worst is what we have. So
it's the other way. 95
93
is better than 94, and 93 is the worst. Yeah.
Gotcha. My bad.
Which I think I agree with. But I think I might move 94 over 95.
Oh, yeah. Yes, because Blade definitely helps that out a ton. This is also a bummer, too, because we did like Doppelganger, you know? And so we are having to cut loose some of these that, like, are, you know, that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like 93 was a complete miss, but you know, Doppelganger I think would be interesting to a few people. I think Leprechaun would be interesting to no one, and Kronos was fine, but it wasn't just like a hardcore horror, you know?
Yeah. So we're going to do 94, 95, 93, and I am with you.
Okay.
On that.
Yeah, Species didn't really move the needle for me, and New Nightmare was like interesting enough from a horror perspective that I think I'm cool with doing that.
Oh, I said Blade earlier, but that's because I had my list is my bad. Yes, I agree with you.
So now that we're kind of like on the borderline, for 98, we had The Faculty, Dark City, Deep Rising, and Blade. I think we both kind of like The Faculty. We both kind of like Dark City. Blade's pretty badass. Deep Rising, bless its heart. Do you still think that is a better collection than The Crow, In the Mouth of Madness, and New Nightmare?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same boat. Just from
mine's Faculty. Like, I really like Faculty.
Yeah. So. I think we talked about it in that episode, but I really would have totally believed that was like a mid-2000s movie. It held up really well, I thought.
It was, and that was one that I actually thought going into it that you would hate, that you wouldn't like, just because we had just done like Scream, or I don't remember the specifics around it. I just didn't think you'd necessarily like it, and you did, and I was like, oh yeah, because that was one that like I watched 1000%. You know, I would have been 10 and 98. So I just got this tied to it. And then you got Blade. So yeah, it's for sure better than 94. Yeah, without a doubt.
Cool. Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I think these are all kind of lining up the way that they should so far. And the one reason that I wouldn't move 98 a lot higher is just because I didn't really find like Dark City or Blade to be actually scary. Like I thought they were good movies a lot more so than they were actually scary. So So the next kind of group that we have is, we know what 98 is, and the ones currently ahead of it are 92 with Man Bites Dog, Lawnmower Man, Candyman, Ghostwatch, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Army of Darkness. And then 1990 is It, Jacob's Ladder, Arachnophobia, The Witches, and Flatliners.
So does 98 take out 92 with the new movie?
Well, that's kind of what I'm wondering. I mean, like, going through the movies from 92, Man Bites Dog was, like, you didn't even finish that one. That was lame as hell. That was a rough, dark movie.
I want to fight whoever made that.
Yeah.
Not because of the content, just because I did not like it. That's why.
Yeah, you had like a very, very negative reaction to that one. And I would absolutely not recommend that movie to anyone ever.
Yeah, same.
Lawnmower Man, I feel like just really didn't age well. I feel like it was...
Yeah.
The special effects and stuff, it just was hard to watch. Bram Stoker's Dracula, I know I didn't like. So really that just leaves kind of Candyman and Ghostwatch, which I would 100% recommend both of those. And then Army of Darkness is more...
Yeah, I was going to say...
I don't think of it as scary, you know?
Mm-mm. Now, Ghostwatch was one that, like, I really enjoyed, but it's kind of the same thing as, like, with 93, where it's like, I like Doppelganger, I like Nightmare Before Christmas. That doesn't make it, better than, 90, than 1990 or whatever.
Yeah. And Candyman.
Yeah, Candyman. Yeah, that's close to home, too.
That's the one that makes it hard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think 98 does better than that.
Like, do you think The Faculty is better than Candyman?
No. I like The Faculty more, but I don't think it's better than Candyman. No. Because I think Faculty could have been... Well, shoot. That's a difficult one, man, because they did do things differently.
I love Ghostwatch. I felt like that was such a creative thing, and I feel like that is so influential in, like, the found footage horror genre.
Yeah.
Candyman and Ghostwatch is a pretty good 1-2 punch, in my opinion.
Are we talking as far as why it's better than 98?
I'm saying just comparing the two.
Yeah. In that case, yes. I didn't know if we were trying to pull a 90 as well, but if this is between 92 and 98, I agree with that. I think that 92 should be on top.
Okay. So now we got 92 versus 90. And 1990 had It, Jacob's Ladder, and Flatliners, which I think is a really strong offering. It also had Arachnophobia and The Witches, which I feel like are a little bit less strong offerings. So do It, Jacob's Ladder, and the Flatliners, the band, Flatliners, in your opinion, how does that stack up to Candyman and Ghostwatch?
Yeah. Difficult, man, because Jacob's Ladder
really hard because those are
so good.
Totally different types of movies.
In fact, I'm wondering why it's not further up the list. I thought like 96 was further down, but
well, it can still move down.
That's a good point. Sure. I do think that 90 is better than 92, just from It, Jacob's Ladder. I mean, Arachnophobia was weird and goofy, but like at the end of the day, it set out to what it wanted to do. The Witches is the one that that's a kid's one.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think I even asked that. And then, no, I don't believe that it or Jacob's Ladder is worse than Candyman Ghostwatch combo, which is basically what is kind of doing the arguing for me on 92 to 90.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think 90
you feel like 90 is the stronger offering? Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
So now the question becomes 90 against 96. 1996 had Bad Moon, which I think was not a perfect... I mean, it was pretty rough, but there were it had moments.
It was almost... I almost want to say we liked it because it was comedic when it shouldn't be. Like, what do we do now? We go right. Chase after this... Yeah.
Yeah. Pinocchio was awful, but also, very much a Child's Play ripoff. Like, I feel like that one gets no points. But then From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks. That's why 96 is where it's at.
Yeah, it is.
And I have a hard time because, like, that I don't care for the movie Scream, but I know that it's super influential, and it would be hard to tell the history of horror movies without including Scream, not just from the 90s, but in general. And so I get that it carries a lot of weight. From Dusk Till Dawn, I think, is a great movie that is just super creative and really standalone good as a movie. And then the horror part of it is also good. So it's like From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks against It, Jacob's Ladder, Arachnophobia, and Flatliners.
Yeah. 96 wins. I got a couple reasons for it. Okay. I'm just trying not to cough. Allergies, sorry. So the thing I liked about From Dusk Till Dawn, that was definitely a horror, one of Quentin Tarantino's earlier ones, but I want to say it was it was unique. Like, this was like a vampire, but it was a unique way of giving us a vampire instead of, Bram Stoker's or, whatever. Like, it was different. Like you're saying with Scream. Now, my point is I thoroughly like Scream. It's one of my favorites. So, that's why. Mars Attack was also unique. One, I don't necessarily think that's the strongest on here, but it was one that I started watching, had watched, thinking it was something, totally got something else out of it, but liked what I got out of it, and have continued to watch it since the first time I see the film.
Well, 96 stands out to me as being very creative. Like, if you take Pinocchio out of the scene, like the Pinocchio story that didn't reference Pinocchio whatsoever, like, Bad Moon was still kind of an interesting movie. It was an adaptation of a book that told a story from a dog's point of view. So, like, okay, cool, good on them for attempting it. But, like, From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks were all very creative, different takes on things, which I feel like is doing exactly the opposite of what the 90s get accused of when it comes to horror movies. I think that really is, like, a strong foot forward as far as, if you think 90s horror sucks, well, here's a year with a bunch of examples that are different from that in the way that you're accusing it of being. Yeah. I think from that is what gives 96 the lead out of 90. That was a close one, though.
It's difficult, though, because my eyes go straight to it, though, and then Jacob's Ladder, which was the one that was like, why have I not ever watched this before? Shit. Yeah. Here's the thing.
But here's the thing.
But
both
let's all be honest.
Years can still move up.
That's true, but let's also be honest too. The original It, albeit probably scary to like kids who watched it in the 90s, like myself, like we watched it again, and it is rough, in a lot of spots. It is a Stephen King, which we've. I think when I started doing this podcast, I had a different idea of what his movies were about than what they really ended up being. Tyler's wife actually kind of helped teach us about that a little bit early on, but it was like, like I could sit there and watch From Dusk Till Dawn, Screams, Mars Attacks from start to finish twice just to make it fair by time. But I don't know. Like I struggle a little bit with that one.
Part 2 was not anywhere in the same ballpark as part 1, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Yeah. So much so that the remake was like,
yeah, I felt the same way about this.
Yeah. So I think that we made the right decision. Yep.
Okay. Well, it doesn't get any easier, unfortunately, because now we got to look at 1999. And 99 had The Blair Witch Project, Audition, The Haunting, Terror Firmer, Sleepy Hollow, and Ravenous. Blair Witch Project, I think, is way up there for both of us. Like, just in general, like legendary, not just 90s.
Influential, yeah.
Yeah. We both liked Audition. Mm-hmm. Sleepy Hollow was good, but not necessarily scary.
Exactly. Like we both liked it as a film, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
I would put that in like the same category as The Witches or like Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, a little more like accessible.
Halloween-ish. This one has like more horror or more like blood and guts kind of thing, but it's this one's tough, dude. Blair Witch is legendary. Yeah. Ravenous, when watching, I definitely liked it more than you did, or just listening to it again.
So it kind of sounds like it's Blair Witch Project, Audition, and Ravenous against From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks.
Yeah. Yeah, and can we have a tie? I mean, like this is difficult. What's the season above?
This is where we might have a pretty big disruption from previous weeks. Because 1991 had Silence of the Lambs, which is a legit good movie. And then it also had People Under the Stairs, Dead Space, and Ernest Scared Stupid, which are all movies that we like. So,
oh yeah, shit. No, you're right though. We did talk about Ernest Scared Stupid. How that's it's the best, but it is in the same category as The Witch of Witches, and like this Hocus Pocus style. Like it's a kid's Halloween film.
I feel like having 91 up there this far, people are going to be like, oh yeah, well, there's just some movies on there that remind him of the best parts of his childhood,
Yeah. So here's the deal. I can't let it go any lower than 90.
I was going to put it right between 90 and 92.
Yes. Okay. No, that's sorry. That's what I meant. I wanted to go there. Like that is the lowest I can let it go.
And I legit feel like that's the right spot for it because I think that, Silence of the Lambs is that good and influential and often copied and important to telling the story of horror movies in the 90s. Mm-hmm. But that's really the thing that this year has going for it as far as...
If it was Event Horizon and not Dead Space, I think that this would be a harder argument. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Agreed. Yeah. And maybe there are other movies from 91 that we missed that we should have watched that would like change our attitude towards it. But overall, I just have a hard time putting it above like the combination of Jacob's Ladder, It, and Flatliners, or From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks, or The Blair Witch Project, Audition, and Ravenous. So, yeah.
Well, see, and the thing too I haven't talked about, but with People Under Stairs is like that's another like I would say like PG-13 movie, like one of my favorites. I watch it every year multiple times. If like you have like I would say like a 10-year-old up, it's I'm not your parent. You decide when you want your kid to watch it. But I would consider it's a 90s kids film. And it was actually one my dad recommended to me. He doesn't do that kind of stuff. So, like, I think I just kind of took it from that. But I love that movie itself. Ernest Scared Soup is right there with it. Silence of the Lambs, like you're saying. Dead Space, albeit not bad. We had just done Event Horizon. Didn't we? No. Event Horizon was later.
Not at all.
When was what was? Oh yeah, no, okay, we did the right thing.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and so like, not to throw shade at any of those movies, it's just like I think that 91 has been amplified in our rankings because of personal reasons, and we still love every movie on there, but it's just, if we're really trying to get to what are the years from the 90s that really like packed a punch for horror movies and that we would point to like disprove people talking shade on 90s horror, it's not the strongest argument point, I guess. Especially if you also acknowledge that 1990 had the Cape Fear remake Manic Cop 2, or I'm sorry, not 1990, 1991 had the Cape Fear remake Manic Cop 2, Child's Play 3, Critters 3, Scanners 3, The Takeover, Omen 4, The Awakening, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare, and Silent Night, Deadly Night 5.
I'm just not happy with my decision.
It's okay. We'll watch those movies together and we'll make up for it.
Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay, I'm back. See, I was depressed again. Cool. I'm back.
Yeah, I got you out of it.
Really, I was trying to remember what Dead Space was about, if I'm being honest with you. I was like, Dead Space in my thing. I was thinking wrong. I was thinking wrong. That was my bad all around. Okay, sorry.
No worries. So yeah, that gets us back to what is currently in number one, which is 1997 with Anaconda, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Event Horizon, and Funny Games. And are you cool with that being above 1999, which is The Blair Witch Project, Audition, The Haunting, Terror Firmer, Sleepy Hollow, and Ravenous? Mm-mm. For me, it's an obvious yes, but I'm curious where you are on it.
No, I'm going to say no. For me, it's okay. Not. So Anaconda, even when we watched it, there were some horror scenes, but not a ton. That was another kind of fun one for us. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, it was doing exactly what was happening in the time it came out. Like, this was the teen horror.
Yeah, I agree.
Comedy or horror. I guess it was kind of comedy. Event Horizon, we both know how I feel about that. Really enjoyed it. It was one I didn't think I would like, so I think I liked it even more. So Funny Games is terrifying. That's one of the most... I was actually just at a buddy's house over the weekend, and he asked what I do for fun. And I was like, we're friends. You shouldn't ask me that. That's weird. And I was like, oh, I do a podcast. And he's like, oh, yeah, what's the topic? I was like, go fuck yourself. I'm not telling you. And I told him. Right. And he asked which horror movie I think is one of the more terrifying ones. And out of the movies that came to my list, that one came up because home invasion terrifies the hell out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very, like, relatably terrifying concept, which is, yeah. But then you're saying that you... Favorite? Oh, because I think that I Know What You Did Last Summer was kind of like the kickoff of the teen slasher stuff that was, like, huge for a while. And then, like, it definitely got a lot worse, but it was just like, okay, at least we've got kind of a new...
See, I guess
it didn't annoy me as much as Scream did. yeah. I think that's probably our biggest difference is that you like Scream a lot more than I do.
Well, it's just I think from that year itself was why I was basing it, because like I get why you wouldn't like them 100%, like without a doubt. Mine's just tied to I watched them younger, but it's just I think I was just going off of like oh well, Scream came out first, so it must. So I'm sure. What I'm saying is I'm okay with 97. I'm getting more okay with 97.
Yeah, but I just the main reason that 97 was so high for me is just that Event Horizon and Funny Games I think were two of the best movies that we watched this season, and to have two that were that good from the same year, I guess it just kind of stands out to me. Whereas, like 96, and there are two that fit our criteria, I guess is kind of what I'm getting at. Whereas 96 had, From Dusk Till Dawn and Scream and Mars Attacks, but those are a lot more well-known already, I guess. So 97 was a little bit more of a surprise to me. So maybe I'm a little bit biased towards it that way. But if you were going to just quick thought, 97 versus 99 versus 96, how would you order those?
I think I would do, I was actually kind of just doing that in my head. So I think I would do, I don't know. I think I would put 99 on top, if I'm being honest with you, because Blair Witch Project, but I think I would put 97 then 96. I think that's what I would put.
I think I'm almost going 96, 97, 99.
Well, yeah, because when we're talking with From Dusk Till Dawn, the uniqueness of it, but I think you saying that your piece about we had two in the same, technically we could have had two under the same year. Nope. I was looking at that wrong. I'm going to delete Flatliners for that fucking, my bad. I almost did it again, dude. But you saying that we had two from the same year that was really good, then and what we're here for, if we're not doing it from within our guidelines.
Yeah.
But then you got Blair Witch, man, and that's what spurred Paranormal Activity and all those movies that I love to today, found footage style. So
yeah. So I am not at all trying to diminish Blair Witch. I'm just saying that I feel like some of the other movies from 99 drag that down a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So you have 96, 97, 99?
I think so.
I would settle for 97, 96, 99.
Deal.
All right. Yeah.
Man, that was a lot of movement.
Hey,
this week.
But that's how conversations should go.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm into it. So, just to recap, season XV was all about revisiting the 90s, taking a look at each year and trying to find the best that it had to offer as far as horror movies. And where we ended up after a very intense debate, which that's about as intense as you and I ever get as far as arguing.
That's actually probably more intense. We don't argue.
Yeah, we ended up with last place that still has some bright spots, was 1993. And I think Doppelganger was probably our favorite movie from that year.
Yeah.
1995, when, I don't know, The Quick and the Dead was probably our favorite. That's not even a horror movie, which probably tells you all you need to know. Yeah. Then 94, where I think The Crow was our favorite. Mm-hmm. 1998, where it was either The Faculty or Blade, but probably The Faculty. 1992, where Candyman was sort of the standout. 91 with Silence of the Lambs, but honorable mention to Ernest Scared Stupid and People Under the Stairs. 1990 with Jacob's Ladder and It. 1999 with The Blair Witch Project and Audition. 1996 in second place, that had From Dusk Till Dawn, Scream, and Mars Attacks. And then in number one, 1997, with Anaconda, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Event Horizon, and Funny Games.
Yeah. That combo.
And I think if people ask me to recommend two movies from the 90s that they might not have seen, I would say Event Horizon and Funny Games. And that's why 97's at number one.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine would be People Under Stairs and Ernest Scared Stupid. Not really. No, but that's Event Horizon would definitely be on the list for sure.
Yeah.
That was just
so that's where we ended up.
I don't think I respected it enough during that episode. That was a good movie.
I feel like I was still trying to figure it out during that episode.
That's true. Because
it was a, you know what I mean? Like it was there was a lot to struggle with in it. So Yeah. But yeah, man, we did it. We made it through season XV.
Crazy.
We made it through the 90s. And I really, really enjoyed this. We've never done anything like this before. I mean, we did like, horror over the decades, but to go through and go like year by year and see kind of the way things changed. And then I even really liked going back and watching movies from some of the years we'd already done and seeing like, oh yeah, that makes total sense. Like the visuals in Species
exactly
are like right there in the middle, of, still we can pull off really good practical effects, but we feel like we need to use CG for some of the more ambitious things, and it's just fallen flat. And that was so like, typical of the time. And yeah, it was a good time. I have very much enjoyed this season. And I have no idea what we're doing next, but I'm sure it'll be fun.
Probably be a filler season.
I love a good filler season.
Man, they're the best.
Yeah. So that said, if anybody has recommendations,
now
this would be a very opportune time to send them our way because, yeah. And that's it for today's episode. If you've listened this far, then thank you, and we hope you've enjoyed it. We're always looking for new ideas, so if you have any questions, comments, or movie suggestions, please send us an email at thehorrificpod@gmail.com or hit us up on the IG. That's what the kids call Instagram. Just search for The Horrific Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Well, you know what we have that guy doesn't have?
I got a lot
3
of
testicles.
That get us in a lot of trouble. Yeah, exactly.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I wish I had said
collectively
a set of balls.
or each?
And you said, yeah. I say, yeah, set of balls. And then you say, yeah, 3 of them. That would have been great. Yeah. Sorry. I'll cut that out.
Yeah.
Or one of us will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but I don't know that it's the strongest offering if I was trying to make a...
I'll cut you with a dull knife.
I feel like the whole season has led up to this confrontation between us because I knew you were going to defend this one a lot. But it's just like, if I'm...
There's a reason why I said 3 testicles earlier. You guys want to know why? Tell them what you said that I didn't like. I'll do it again, Daniel. We'll only have 2, which is still more than that writer. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you did.
I did good.
This has been a long haul, and you're hanging in there. You're playing like a champ. I'm also about to pass out from heat exhaustion, so there's no telling what's about to come out of my mouth.